Hi everyone. Thanks for being here today for a talk with my friends Sébastien and Quang. And we're going to talk about AI. How can we avoid it, right? But very specific thing that you could relate on, right? Because we're talking about securely exploring private data. So somehow we're going to talk about self-hosted, but in a way where it should be compatible with SaaS, right? So that's basically what we are going to talk about. The story, what is the use case we talk about, how we implement it, what are the different steps we're using. Then hopefully working demo in time, everything we hope for. And eventually we have time for some questions, we hope so. So that's basically the high level agenda. I know I hand on to Quang to talk about boosting the user experience, what we're talking exactly about.
Yeah, the problem is when your site contains a lot of content, so sometimes it's hard to find the right information. So we make the user impression better by turning search into a conversation where an AI assistant helps user to explore information naturally and efficiently. For our project, we set some requirements ourselves. First of all, it must support deployment both on self-host Liferay DSP and Liferay SaaS. So we will develop with client extension. Secondly, the data must to explore securely, make sure that no data go outside. And third one, access information should be controlled based on user permissions. And the last one, the generated question should be consistent with data's context, should avoid any misleading information or hallucination. So, which AI we talk about? Here, AI is present for generative AI. A subcategory of broader field of AI is emergent after advancement in machine learning and deep learning. Generative AI can create content by producing new data based on the learned pattern. So our AI assistant is built beyond the three main parts. The first one is a semantic search engine. Semantic search go beyond just matching keywords. It's about understand what really user mean behind the query, so we can give the result that's relevant to user intent. Okay. The second one is an NNN. NNN refer to a large language model. It's a type of generative AI specialized in language. The NNN is pre-trained with a huge amount of text, so we can understand context, follow instruction, and generate the answer sound nature. Okay, so to combine semantic search and NNN, we use some glue code with a technique of prompting. We will go in detail in the next slide. So we should pass.
Yeah. So about Liferay semantic search, the goal of the semantic search is to transform text to vectors, because now we don't want to see how text match with keywords. We want to see the meaning of the words based from the query and on our own data. So we need vectors. And in Liferay specifically, it's leverage search blueprints, because blueprints is a convenient way to change how we query in Elasticsearch. So basically we say no keywords, no compare vectors together. So then Liferay semantic search supports different things. So we can have multiple languages, asset types, embedding providers as well to transform text to vectors that we refer to text embeddings. And multiple dimensional vectors are supported as well. So you can have, models, providers that do 384 or 512 dimension of vectors, so you have the choice of that. And then the interesting things in the way we're going to, we build the project and you're going to see in the demo is that you can call semantic search through headless API. And that's a feature flag called search headless API. And to that search headless API, you can pass which grouping you want to use. So basically, you can call a REST API to have the result of a semantic search powered by Liferay. And one of the important things we mentioned in the beginning is that it needs to be permission-based. So it needs to respect the content, the permission that a user have, right? It shouldn't return some content that they don't have access to, so we need to have that dimension. And this is what Liferay Semantic Search is supporting as well. And to show you guys how it works very simply is whenever you're indexing an asset, which is when you publish a content, it now goes to a transformer model, that's the embedding provider. So as of today, it's either TXT-AI or Hugging Face endpoints. And then it returns vectors that you eventually store as a new attribute in your Elasticsearch document. So if you explore your data, you will see now a new attribute with the code of the language, the dimension of the vector, and eventually the value of that vector. So now we need a new component, generative AI.
Yeah. So how to choose an NM model? There are many open source NM model available. So the key to choose the right one is to understanding your needs. For our scale, there is several factors to consider. First of all, about model size. A small model is great for simple tasks, while the larger model is good for complex tasks, generating creative content. So for our AI assistant, lightweight model can do the job. API access is essential to integrate easily to our system. And we need also a model with large enough context window size to handle longer input and generate more consistent output. And because you have to ensure no data go outside, so the AI platform must be supported on-premise users. So there is multiple choice like local AI, GPT-4o, Ollama, and considering all of the factors. For our case, Ollama with Llama 3.2, 3B fit perfectly our needs. So now let's Sébastien talk about
the last part about the keystone of the system, the RAG. Retrieval Augmented Generation is a technique. This technique consists to combine semantic search and LLM. The result of semantic search is injected into the prompt of the LLM, and so the LLM will deliver to the user a kind of synthesis of the knowledge directly from the search result. So, because it's strongly scoped to your own data, it drastically reduces hallucination of the LLM, is the first good point. Moreover, it's very easy to provide direct link to source of information related to the answer. It's a second good point. And there is many other advantage. This is secure because semantic search handles permissions, as said by Louis-Guillaume previously. Second point is data freshness. Because data are fetched dynamically from the search result, you have always up-to-date answer. It's a good point. And another good point is you don't need to train your own model with edge power and time necessary. You can just use a standard model, a lightweight model, so it's more convenient.
Good.
And to finish, not the RAG is not just a little thing. It's a big trend in the AI. For example, in the Southwark Sex Radar, this technique is marked as to be adopted. So it's really a big trend, and in many universities is now taught as a technique you need to use with AI. Definitely. So now I will give the mic to
Deep dive.
Louis-Guillaume for more in-depth.
Yeah, but that's RAG architecture, like how it's working, and it's not specific to Liferay, right? Something you could apply in any project for that use case of question answering. So you have a question from the user, you need to go by that embedding model to create a vector from that question, and then trigger a similarity search against your vector database, where all your data is converted as vectors. So you can compare the meaning of the question with the meaning of the data that you have stored in your application. Then you have relevant results based on the meaning. This is really the goal of the semantic search. And you can pass that as a context that you will eventually insert in a prompt with all the prompt engineering you need to do, but you will say, okay, about the grounding of the data, don't answer something you don't know. The things you know are in the context. So this is what you put into the prompt. And then you give that to the LLM, and finally you have the answer to the question of the user. On the context also, we'll see in the demo that we have the history of the conversation, so there's multiple things we include in that context, but basically this is what the RAG is doing. So the knowledge comes from the vector database, but maybe you don't have a vector database, right? So you need to think about the fact that you have a database, that you need to pass the data into that embedding model to store the vectors in the vector database. So in an application outside of Liferay, it's an extra thing to think about with permissions also. But the good thing is we have that in Liferay, right? We have semantic search, so it's covering most of the use case we have. So that's a good news for us, right? And we can focus on, we have TXT and Hugging Face, as we said, for the embedding model, and the vector database is actually Elasticsearch in our use case. And we can focus on client extensions. So we have two kinds of client extensions you could see. One would be the backend for the LLM, the prompting, all of that. And one would be the front end to build the chatbot. So, developing that architecture, we got a lot of help from Liferay, and we can focus on delivering the value when it comes to the AI. In terms of components, so to give an overview of the components we have the Liferay stack with Liferay DXP and Elasticsearch. Then we build those kind of extensions. We choose React Chatbotify for the front end, then a microservice using Spring Boot as a client extension and using the LangChain4j framework. And it's using OYAMA, as Quang said earlier, with the YAMA 3.2 model on 3 billion parameters. And Liferay is using TXT AI. So it's basically the setup of our components. So it's pretty straightforward and simple. And you see that we have those two client extensions we need to focus on while using AI services. So now I think it's time for a little demo.
Yes,
Sébastien.
it's demo time.
Right?
I need a share for the demo.
We should have done enough sacrifice to the demo gods, so hopefully it goes well. And because it's a self-hosted use case, everything you will see is on the local machine. So we're not afraid of Wi-Fi breaking down.
It's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So to begin, I will log in into Liferay. Okay.
If the one.
Yeah, I was okay. Not a good idea, user one. No.
My sis. Okay.
First. It's better. Putain, merde. No, because we can use simple password to do not have the same security alerts that Brian this morning. Okay, if I go to a website with some interesting data. So, because we are in Budapest all together, interesting data is about beer. And in this website, there is a forum with many data imported from Stack Exchange about beers. But as a user, if I explore manually all the data to get an answer to my question, is very long and difficult. So I will ask my friend, the robot, okay? So let's go to ask a question. Up. So, a very interesting question. What's the highest degree of alcohol for a beer? So, I wait a bit, and this is magic. The chatbot provides to me a very complete answer about my question. And thanks to the RAG and semantic search, I have the link to the source of the document used to compute the response. For example, I can click here, and I have the detail of the source. But just a note, it will be better to have direct link to the forum post. But unfortunately, we use only client extension, and client extension rely on the headless search API. And in the headless search API, there is some limitation for now. In the result, there is not direct link to the asset or to the page, the display page of the asset. So we just use the pop-up, but surely in upcoming version of Liferay, we will have all the data necessary to have a more complete user experience.
Yeah, I feel a feature request is coming.
Yes, I feel too. So we can ask another question to a chatbot.
What's the question?
Example,
Which
alcohol
costs
costs
the
the
most? Okay.
So you can see it can provide a very structured and clear answer with maybe a last one, just for the road. It's for the road. It's like drink, just a last one.
So it's about red wine in a beer forum. I feel like French people just hijacked into the forum, right?
Okay, just to illustrate
Permission control.
the permission system, we can use another user. I will.
Something also we could mention is that we are on a specific website with a forum,
Right.
and one of the things we can send to the Search LS API is a blueprint and the scope group ID. So we can scope the RAG to the content of the website, beyond the permissions and the data you have in Liferay.
For example, I with admin user, so I will ask a question about a very secret topic.
So where is the next Devcon?
And there is some link. But if I log with a random user with no special permission, the result will not be the same because permissions are correctly applied. Okay. Same question. Okay. No special information because security is assured by the semantic search.
Yeah, and it's not saying I have the info, but you cannot have access to, right? It's saying there's no information about that. Kind of the same thing when you're trying to access a page you don't have access to return a 404 and not say that it's restricted, right? For security issues.
let's go to take a quick tour of the source code and the technique behind the scene. Okay, all the project is open sourced, so you can play with this next week or maybe this evening. But maybe this evening you are another things to explore, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's available for you, and a particularly important point is the prompt, because this is really the heart of the system. This is the system prompt, okay? This prompt configure, it's a kind of configuration of the LLM with natural language. And another very important prompt is the user message prompt. So in one very short file, you have all the RAG technique illustrated, because we have here the user message.
Zoom.
On va faire avec ça. Hop.
Yeah.
It's okay?
Yeah.
You have the prompt used. This is a parameterized prompt. It's a template of a prompt. Okay, it's a prompt template. So you in the prompt we inject the question of the user's message, and we inject some static system prompt, and at the last position we inject the result of the semantic search. This is the contents parameter, and this is the heart of the technique of the RAG. Another interesting point to view is the dependency to the LLM. For our demonstration, we use Ollama, but as you can see, we have no direct dependency to Ollama. We use LangChain 4G. So if we want to use another LLM provider like Gemini, for example, very good LLM provider. There is a stand about that in the main hall. You can use it, and another interesting point is the temperature parameter. Okay, it's a kind of bullshitometer, because if you have a low temperature, there is more hallucination, more bullshit from the LLM. Yes, but if you want more precise response and a very safe response, you can upper the temperature. So we have used it's between 0 and 1. Okay, and to prove there is no direct dependency to Ollama, we can have a look at the chat service implementation. As you can see, there is no import of Ollama package, only LangChain 4G. Okay, good. I think.
Back to the slides?
Yeah.
To wrap this up. So if you want to learn more about one of those things, so tomorrow you have track B with semantic to go deep dive into how semantic search is working. Also, if you're interested in that client extension approach of, with integration with AI services, you also have Danny on track A tomorrow, and on main stage, Mahmoud, if you want to have an example of real-world application when it comes to client extensions. And what if we want to explore together?
Yes, because as you understand, this topic is not have many ramifications. So 30 minutes is definitely too short to explore all of the topics. So if you want to explore more with us, come to a conference Thursday. We have plenty of many topics to propose at the conference about AI and ramification of our experimentation. So, see you Thursday.
Okay. I wanted to talk about one last thing. We'll have the slides up there, but I will use that because in July we did an AI exchange program at Liferay, and we worked on some of the things. One of the things you'll probably see during the keynote on the AI assistant. And the thing I worked on was with the team here to basically say, what about having that in Liferay for convenience? So what we worked on is something we called AI task to basically focus on prompt engineering and having something that you can configure which provider you use for your own use case, because question answering is really one use case among a lot you could have. You could have like summarized content, summarize search results, explain search results. You could have giving help in a form. It could be translation also. So there's many use cases you could build on the question answering side, but you need convenience in Liferay for that. So this is basically what we did this summer. If you're interested in the topic, don't hesitate to reach out and we could see together.